If you're hearing this before November 11, it's not a coincidence. Something is already shifting. You've probably felt it, that strange heaviness behind your thoughts, that eerie quiet between moments, that sudden awareness that something invisible is moving through your life. Before the 1111 portal even opens, you're already standing in it. And that's not just a poetic idea, it's a spiritual reality. Because when you awaken too early, when you begin to sense what others can't yet feel, you start walking a path that very few can see. It's not about fear. It's about readiness. And right now, your awareness is being tested by a kind of spiritual gravity, pulling you forward while the rest of the world is still standing still. You may have noticed strange patterns lately. Conversations that feel off. People who seem distant. Sleep that feels lighter or interrupted. Your instincts have become louder. And whether you realize it or not, that's because the veil has already begun to thin for you, days before it will for others. This is what it feels like to be early. To see before the seeing begins. To awaken before the light officially rises. But make no mistake, being early carries its own kind of danger. The energy before the gate opens. Every year, when the 1111 portal approaches, the energy begins to pulse days in advance. You'll feel it like static in the air, a strange hum in your intuition. The closer it gets, the sharper your inner world becomes. It's as though your thoughts are no longer private. The universe hears them faster, responds quicker. You may catch yourself saying something and watching it manifest almost immediately. You think of someone and they call. You sense a change, and within hours, reality adjusts to match your awareness. That's not coincidence. That's the pre-portal vibration, a thinning of dimensions where intention and manifestation start merging faster than logic can explain. But here's the part most people don't understand. When the veil begins to thin for you early, it doesn't just open doors. It also opens mirrors. And mirrors don't just show light, they show truth. The truth about people, situations, motives, and the things you've been too kind to confront. So if you've been noticing strange behavior, inconsistencies, sudden distance between you and others, this is not rejection. It's revelation. The 1111 frequency reveals who can rise with you and who cannot follow your vibration any longer. The burden of early awareness. You might not realize it, but you've already crossed into the shift zone. The moment your awareness began catching things others couldn't, you entered the early stage of ascension, a quiet, often lonely initiation that happens before the collective catches up. It starts subtle. You feel detached from conversations that once felt fulfilling. The things that used to excite you start feeling shallow. You crave silence, not because you're tired, but because noise suddenly feels toxic. This is the first sign that your frequency is rising faster than your surroundings. And the universe, wise as it is, begins to isolate you, not to punish you, but to protect the calibration of your energy. You may feel invisible, misunderstood, misjudged. But understand this deeply, being unseen right now is divine design. Because when the portal energy finally arrives in full force, you will need clarity, not chaos. You will need inner balance, not outer approval. You will need strength that doesn't depend on recognition. Before activation comes separation. And right now, that separation is not loss, it's alignment. Why people react strangely around you. You might have already noticed this, people reacting strangely around you lately. Friends who suddenly seem uncomfortable in your presence. Co-workers who look at you differently. Loved ones who don't seem to understand your silence. It's not because you've changed overnight. It's because your vibration has started broadcasting truths they're not ready to face. When your energy begins holding light frequencies that others have not yet integrated, you naturally trigger their shadows, not by doing anything wrong, but simply by existing at a higher resonance. You can feel it in conversations. When you speak truth, their eyes dart away. You can sense it in energy, when your calm unsettles their chaos. This is what early awakening looks like. You become a mirror that people either embrace or reject. Remember this. People don't get angry because you're wrong, they get angry because you're right too early. And in the pre-portal phase, truth hits harder than ever. The spiritual isolation before the portal. Right before 1111, A kind of spiritual silence sets in. It's not emptiness, it's sacred stillness. Your guides begin speaking less in words and more in sensations. The universe stops showing signs for everything, because it's preparing you to trust the inner compass that's been forming quietly all year. You might find that meditation feels deeper, but socializing feels heavier. Music sounds different. Your dreams become vivid, sometimes unsettling, sometimes prophetic. This is the pre-activation phase. When your soul begins syncing with the frequency of what's coming. When you're not being punished, you're being prepared. And yes, it can feel lonely. But this is where most people misunderstand Ascension. They believe loneliness means disconnection. But in truth, it's the opposite. It means the old cords of connection are being cut to make room for divine reconnection. If you've been feeling left out, distant, unseen, remind yourself. You're not being left behind. You're being called ahead. The hidden cost of seeing too much too soon. There's a heavy truth that most awakened souls eventually face. The deeper your awareness becomes, the less you can unsee. You start recognizing deception before it speaks. You sense endings before they unfold. You pick up on energies that people haven't even admitted to themselves. And while this feels like a gift, it also comes with a cost. The cost of carrying knowledge others deny. You'll see someone's true intentions and watch them pretend otherwise. You'll notice dishonesty and be told you're overreacting. You'll speak a truth that someone isn't ready to hear, and they'll make you the villain in their story. This is why awareness can feel like both a blessing and a curse. But make no mistake, awareness is never the problem. Resistance to awareness is. The universe gave you vision not to expose others, but to elevate yourself. You're being shown patterns now because after 11:11, you will need discernment, not judgment, to move through what comes next. The energy mechanics of 11:11. Let's go deeper. Why does 11:11 hold such power? In numerology, 11 is known as the master number of intuition, awakening, and alignment. Two 11s side by side create a mirrored gate, one representing the self you've been, the other representing the self you're becoming. When you see 11:11 repeatedly, it's not the universe trying to give you a sign. It's the universe responding to your frequency. You've reached a state where your perception is finally sensitive enough to notice synchronicities as they happen. And right before the 11:11 portal officially opens, these signs multiply, not by coincidence, but by resonance. You'll notice the time stamp more often. You'll catch the number sequence on receipts, notifications, and dreams. It's not random. It's alignment reflecting back to itself. 11:11 doesn't appear when you start wishing. It appears when you start remembering. It's the moment your timeline bends toward purpose. The second you stop chasing and start aligning. And for those who awaken early, the number becomes more than a symbol. It becomes a mirror that reflects your readiness. The real reason you're isolated before 11:11. The days leading up to 11:11 can feel emotionally confusing. You'll sense detachment, emotional distance, and even fatigue. But none of it is random. Before every energetic expansion, your vibration needs to stabilize. Your body, the vessel, recalibrates by withdrawing from external frequencies that no longer match. That's why people seem further away, conversations feel dull, and social spaces feel draining. This isolation is not punishment. It's energetic quarantine. You're being protected from interference while your new frequency integrates. Think of it like your system upgrading. During installation, all other programs must pause. That's what's happening now. The universe hides you not because you're forgotten, but because you're being refined. When the portal opens, your energy will re-emerge, clearer, stronger, and magnetically aligned with new opportunities. So don't resist the quiet. Let it do its work. What happens when 11:11 fully opens? When the portal reaches its peak on November 11th, a surge of vibrational acceleration occurs. The collective frequency rises. Timelines begin merging. The version of you that you've been preparing for meets the version that's been waiting. You'll feel it. Sudden inspiration. Emotional release. Physical sensations of warmth, tingling, or waves of calm energy running through you. It's the energetic equivalent of walking through a threshold you've been seeing in dreams for years. But the true shift is not outside you. It's within. The thoughts you choose on that day anchor your next reality. The emotions you hold become blueprints for your next chapter. That's why clarity before the portal is so important. The universe doesn't reward confusion. It amplifies alignment. After 11:11, manifestations quicken. Timelines accelerate. Connections realign. And your awareness becomes your greatest navigation tool. The transition after the shift. In the days after 11:11, you'll notice a strange calm. The noise fades. People who once resisted your energy begin to resonate with it. Truths you carried alone start surfacing in conversations. You might hear someone say, "You were right." But by then, it won't even matter, because the validation isn't what you were waiting for. You'll realize the power was never in being believed. It was in holding clarity when no one else could. This is what spiritual maturity feels like, when peace becomes proof enough. As the energy stabilizes, you'll feel lighter. Your sleep deepens. Your focus sharpens. And the people meant to walk beside you start appearing naturally, without force, without confusion. Closing message and call to action. So if you're hearing this before November 11th, take this as confirmation. You are not behind. You are ahead. You're already walking through the energy most people haven't even sensed yet. You were chosen to see before others. To awaken first. To feel what others can't. That's not a punishment, it's purpose. Because when the veil lifts for everyone, they'll need mirrors who can reflect truth without fear. And that's who you are becoming. So trust the silence. Honor your clarity. And remember, the universe doesn't make mistakes with timing. If you're hearing this message now, it's because your soul was meant to prepare early. The 11:11 portal is not just a date. It's an alignment point, a mirror between timelines. And you're already standing at the edge of it. Let go of fear. Release control. And allow the next version of you to step through. Because once you cross that threshold, nothing will ever be the same again. If this message found you at the right time, trust that it wasn't random. The energy of 11:11 brought you here for a reason. So take a deep breath. Ground your energy. And remember, awareness is not danger. Awareness is destiny. If you felt this message, leave a comment with, "I am ready for 11:11." Like this video to amplify the energy. And share it with someone who's been feeling the same shift. They might need to hear it too. Subscribe for more transmissions like this. Because the portal is only the beginning. And what comes next will redefine everything you thought you knew about awakening.